Hello there, friends. This is Joanna. It's so great to have you guys with me. I know. You don't have to tell me. I know what you're thinking, that I'm going crazy because this pendant just looks way too complicated, but it is not. It does have a few moving parts to it, but they are not difficult to create. And at the end, we're going to put it all together to create this really awesome piece, or actually a few pieces. So grab a cup of coffee, relax, and let's get started. And I'm starting with 2 pieces of translucent clay, and also for alcohol inks I'm going to be using a Baja Blue by Pinata in Ranger's Stream, and I'm just going to mix those colors into the clay. If you have never mixed alcohol inks into clay, you will see that it kind of changes the texture a little bit, but don't worry, it will look amazing in the project. So I'm done mixing one color. I'm going to move on to the next color. I will also grab some pearl and mix it into translucent clay. So I have this translucent and pearl mixture as well, and I'm getting ready to making a Skinner blend. Now, you know I am horrible at Skinner blends, so I'm not even going to get into it in detail, but this is the beginning of a Skinner blend, and then you have to continue on and continue on. And then I realized that as I was making it, that those 2 colors that I chose, the blues, are just a little bit too close in color to each other. Anyways, I have my Skinner blend. I rolled it out on the thinnest setting of the pasta machine, and now I am rolling it into a big roll with the pearl on the inside. Now, as you're rolling it, make sure that you get rid of all the bubbles that are in there. That's what I'm doing here as well. Just try to push them out. Make sure that there are no bubbles in that little cane that we just created. And now I'm going to start rolling it out. And as I roll it out, I'm going to be cutting pieces of it. So this is going to be my thickest roll, and I'll continue with this, and I'm going to roll it out to a little bit thinner piece, and then even thinner, and so on and so forth, so that I have different sizes for my pendant. Now these things are gonna go into the freezer because it's just way too hot. And of course, after I put them in the freezer, I realized, oh my goodness, I wanted to wrap them in pearl color. So this is pearl rolled out on the thinnest setting of the pasta machine. Honestly, you would do it when you are making the cane before you roll it and start slicing it, because now I had to go and I had to do each cane separately, so that was a pain in the butt. But here you have it. I'm gonna leave one unrolled just because I can. And I don't mean unrolled, I mean unwrapped. Okay, so now I have some white clay, and I'm going to be using the Baja Blue Pinata alcohol ink. Now this is the color of your pendant, so it depends what color you're going to be doing it. I figured that since I have this color in my little rolls, this is going to look really good. So just add the alcohol ink to your clay, and we're going to put it on the side to let it dry. Now, while this is drying, we're going to continue on with some more translucent. And I have 3 pieces of translucent clay, and again, I used Baja Blue in one, then I went to Ranger's Indigo, which almost looks purple, but it was supposed to be blue, and then Stream, and on the right hand side, I have my pearl. Now, this part that we are creating right now, we're going to start layering all the clay, is the part of the pendant that has all those lines, the different color lines. If you don't like that part of the pendant, you can just skip this part of the video entirely. You're gonna be just fine. So we're gonna layer those colors, we're gonna give it a nice roll, and we're going to cut it and stack it on top of each other. You can see that the lines are still a little bit too thick for my liking, so I'm going to roll it out again, and I'm gonna cut it one more time, and I'm gonna put it on one on top of the other, and I think I am gonna be happy with that thickness. Now, once again, because it is pretty darn warm around here, I am going to throw it in the freezer just to cool it off. Now, I rolled out some white clay, and I'm going to start slicing. I'm gonna slice this clay, and I'm gonna place it on the white clay to create one sheet of clay that I'm gonna use for my pendant. Easy peasy pumpkin squeezy. It is. You just have to have several slices, and you're gonna put them together, and they're gonna look fantastic. Now here they are. Just trim off the ends, and we're going to use them for another pendant, which I'm going to be making with scraps only. And this is going to be our piece that is going to go with the bubbly piece, which I'm going to introduce to you guys in just 1 minute. Now, if you have anything sticking out, any clay sticking out, it's always a good idea to grab a piece of paper and just run it through with your fingers on top of the paper. I think it's a little bit nicer than the roller. You have more control over what you're doing with the clay. So now the alcohol ink is dry. I'm going to use some silver leaf on top. I wasn't sure if I wanted to do it or not, so I'm not going crazy with the silver leaf, just little pieces here and there. And I'm going to put translucent clay on top, and that translucent was rolled out on the thinnest setting of the pasta machine. Now the whole thing is going into my pasta machine. I rolled it out, and you can see, ooh, look at that silver. It had really nice cracks in there. So I grabbed my little rolls from the freezer, and please let me know, how do you create rolls and slice them so that they stay completely round, because these are frozen and they are still not round. So all I'm going to be doing is right now, it's just so fun, just slice and place all those little pieces all over. And again, paper is coming into action. I'm going to use it on top just to squish them and make them smooth. So I decided that between the bubbly piece and the stripes, I wanted a piece of white, or this is actually pearl, which actually I didn't really love when I created the pendant, but this is what I'm doing here. So one of the pendants does have that white piece. It's a little border in between the two different clay sheets. So that's exactly what I'm creating here. And I rolled out some white clay, which is gonna be the backing to my pendant, and I'm placing all the pieces on it. My stripes, then my pearl border, and then I'm just going to slice a straight line on my bubbly clay so that it will fit really nicely against my pearl border, and I'm gonna be ready to cut and create some pendants, which is such a fun part of the whole project. All right, so let's start cutting. And cutting, I went just absolutely crazy with cutting. I made so many different shapes, I don't even kid you guys. So this one, it has that white border, and actually this is the only one with the white border, because when I tried it without the border, I liked it. And then I tried some without the stripes at all, and you know, this one didn't have the white border, and I thought I really liked it. Anyway, so I just went crazy. I was cutting all kinds of different shapes, and they were coming out so beautifully. And after I was done cutting, I started putting all my scraps together, because it happened so many times that I used my scraps and I had the neatest pendants made with scraps. So there you have it. And once again, I love the pendant that came out with scraps. So you can see that I'm getting 2, 4, 6 pendants so far. Now I'm going to be using those scraps. I'm just chopping them, and I'm going to roll them. Now when you roll them, you're going to get this really nice marbly texture or design to your pendant, and I actually love it. I was wondering if I wanted the stripes on the side, but I decided, nah, I think I just want it by itself. I think it just looks very pretty by itself. And there you have it, another successful pendant. I love the way this one came out. And with the rest of my scraps, I'm just gonna chop them, and this time I'm not gonna roll them, I'm just gonna squish them together and create a freestyle shape pendant. And I really love the way this one came out as well. I know I'm getting a little bit boring because I'm constantly making the same shapes, but I really like this shape, and it's kind of speaks to me, if you know what I mean. Anyways, that was also super easy. So look at all those pendants that I have right now, and this is a perfect time for you to grab your tool and correct all the shapes and the edges and clean up your pendants to the best of your ability. Okay, so now they are nicely baked, and I grabbed a little, what is it called, sandpaper, and I'm just cleaning off the edges. I do it to all my pendants, although I don't show it in all my videos. But that was done, and now we are ready actually to apply resin. Now let me tell you about the resin. I don't put too much resin when you're applying it on your pendant. Sometimes the tops are uneven, and we tend to put too much resin thinking that we are going to cover the unevenness. Well, you know what? Resin is self-leveling, so that thing is going to come off. If you put too much, it's just going to roll off your pendant, and it's going to cause such a mess, and you'll see it in just 1 minute. So just assume that if you have an uneven top, you will probably have to put 2 layers of resin. One, have it cured, and then you're going to put another resin on. Don't try to put too much at once, because it just causes way too much work with the cleanup. Let me show you what I mean. Now, for all those, I used 2 teaspoons of resin, and look how much I have left over. I really tried to be good with the amount that I used. And there you have it. Here are my pendants. Of course, resin just makes everything look absolutely beautiful. And I had to put 2 layers on. So just to cover my uneven tops, and look at the one that I'm holding right now. Oops, with the second layer, yes, I did put too much on, and I'm gonna have to get rid of it. But overall, they came out absolutely beautiful, perfect for the summer. The shimmer is amazing. I wish that you guys could see it, especially when you take those in the sun. It's just amazing. Well, my friends, let me know what you think about this project. I hope it was not too difficult for you guys. I mean, all the parts, like I said, were not complicated, but there were a few parts to it. So leave me some comments. Let me know what you think about it. I hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, ta-da!